The first video of the Breakers 2025 season. I'll do a lot of my coaching through these videos. Please make sure that you're signed up on the Sprocket app and that your parents have invited you so that you receive these emails. I'll do a lot of my coaching through these videos. Frankly, we don't spend much time at the rink together. And when we are at the rink together, I want you to have the locker room to yourselves to have fun as a team. Most of my videos that I send out, they'll be 8 to 10 minutes long, maybe even shorter if they're just a practice plan. This one will be longer. I'm treating this as kind of our team meeting. Since we won't be able to get together, everyone has busy schedules. It'll be hard for us to get on the same page for a Zoom. So I'll send these videos out, and you can consume them when you have the time. And then rather than just watching them, I want you to think about them as well, especially when we're talking about concepts. I view my job as your coach this year as being an educator. We don't have a lot of time on the ice to work on skills, so it's hockey knowledge and your mindset that I'm going to be focused on coaching. I'll start off with some bad news, unfortunately, and that's that we're not going to win the national championship this year. I'm sorry to say that, but it's probably not in the cards. And when you get over your disappointment of hearing that, maybe you'll come to my point of view, which is that's a good thing for me. I feel like that I can focus on coaching more important things, and that's development and it's having fun. Like, those are the things that I want to work on this year. And if you know people on those teams that have championship aspirations, state or national, make sure you let them know that those expectations are out there. When you see someone from the Spitfires or Assabet, ask them if this is the year they're going to get over the hump. Make them feel that pressure. We don't need to feel that at all. So, and just to let you know, I think I put this in an email already, but Gore Kluzak will be coaching on the bench again. Like I said, you might not have the best coaches in the league, but you will have the tallest and the baldest coaches. Today, I'm being assisted by my boy Henry right here. So he likes to curl up on the couch in my office. So he'll chirp in as needed from time to time. So what kind of coach am I? I love to coach, and I coach because I think it's fun and I like to educate people. And when I go to the rink, I want to have fun. I'm not going there to get angry. I don't yell and scream. Maybe when I first started out coaching 10 years ago, I'd take a couple of bench minors a year. It's been a long time since I've had one. So you'll notice that I'm pretty even keeled, or I'm excited to be there. So that's what you can expect from a temperament. 98% of the times I'm going to roll the lines. I picked you to be on this team. It was my decision. I think you're all good hockey players, and good hockey players should play hockey. So, maybe if we're playing in the finals of a tournament, or, we're down to our last minute or two, I might shorten the bench a little bit, or, if we get a power play unit, I think everyone will probably play PP and PK. Maybe we'll get some units going as the season develops, but expect to play, and expect to earn your playing time too. It's not a free pass, but I want everyone to play every shift. That's my philosophy. Another part of my philosophy, I believe that there's never been a perfect hockey game that's been played. There's mistakes, and it's the middle of the NHL playoffs right now. You'll find mistakes all the time. I think back to that World Cup. Whenever that was, in January or February of this year, the two best hockey teams in the in the world and some of the best, the best hockey players in the world. And, game-winning goal for Canada, and Austin Matthews lost his check in his defensive zone, right? It was a mistake. He's one of the five best players in the world, and he made a mistake in the biggest moment. So if Austin Matthews can't play a perfect game, I don't expect the U19 Breakers to play any perfect games. So you're going to make mistakes. I'm going to make mistakes. I think back to our state tournament last year. I waited too long to call a timeout when we were down by a goal. I thought I'd get a chance around a minute mark, and it never came. So I'll make mistakes too. If it makes you feel better, you can point them out to me. I'll realize it. I'm sure, and just like when I know that you've realized that you've made a mistake, I probably won't point it out to you. So I'm sure right now you're saying, "Geez, coach, this all sounds amazing." But what can we do to earn such wonderful treatment? Well, I'm glad you asked. And we'll get into that a little bit. You'll get your first view at my whiteboard. Oh, well, I had to split the video. Hopefully, I can figure out how to splice it together. So, what do I expect from you? First thing, and you're going to hear me talk about this a lot, is be consistently competitive. Okay, consistently competitive. That's one of the things I'm really going to hammer on. I should trademark it. And you might all be thinking, yeah, coach wants me to work hard. That's not what I'm talking about. Okay, this is a U19-1 team. Working hard is table stakes. My expectation is that you're already there. Okay, this consistently competitive is a mindset. Okay, and what are the components of that mindset? It means we're going to focus on the inputs and not the outcomes. So rather than worrying about the score at the end of the first period or whether we won or lost the game, we're going to focus on what we bring to the rink, what we bring to each and every one of our shifts. It's one shift at a time, okay? So we're focusing in, we're locking in before we go through the door on the bench to get on the ice. And, when you're on the bench, you might take a few minutes to think about what you could have done better last time. You see yourself making that better play, and then you immediately turn your attention to the next shift and who you're taking and being prepared to be competitive when you get on the ice. Winning puck races, blocking shots, winning puck battles. These are what we want to win. Rather than focus on winning the game, we want to focus on winning these competitions within the game, within each shift. Okay? Puck races, puck battles, blocking shots, and it's resilience. We're playing in the best league in the country. Maybe the JWHL could argue they're a little better than us. I don't even know if that's a real league. But things aren't always going to go our way. Okay, we're going to be on the down by a few goals. We're going to take some tough bounces, and we want to be resilient. You're going to make mistakes. If you make a mistake, I want you coming back hard the next shift and not dwelling on it. And as far as resilience goes, one of the things I like about this team is that you've all felt disappointment in your hockey career, right? Whether you're not getting the ice time that you'd expect in the past or you've been cut from teams. I know every single one of you has felt that disappointment, and you're still here, right? You're still here to make yourself better, to compete against those girls that might have been taken above you or that people think that are better than you. And you're ready to battle. Now, the last thing I'll say about this, I've been talking about this in a game setting, but what you should know is that the best players don't just bring this mindset to games. They bring this to practice too. Watch YouTube videos of NHL practices where they're doing, one-on-one battles in a small area. Like, those guys are beating the hell out of each other, right? And, every puck battle is at maximum intensity. Every puck race is at maximum intensity. Like, check in when you get to the front of the line in every shift at every practice. Try to bring that mindset to every time that you step on the ice. So, first expectations, being consistently competitive. Next one, and I care a lot about this, I want you to be a great teammate. I want a competitive team in a great room, okay? This doesn't mean you have to be best friends. I've played with guys in the past who I wouldn't probably choose to spend time with off the ice, but once you come to the rink, you have to be open, you have to be accepting of everyone. You can joke around with each other, but let's make sure that that we're doing it in good nature. You can pick on me too, if you want to. Pick up your teammates when they make a mistake or when they're feeling down. If you notice that, get them a pat on the backside, a tap on the head. Make sure that that you're supportive emotionally for your teammates, just like you would want them supportive of you. Stick up for your teammates when you're on the ice, okay? Now, that doesn't mean you have to come in hard and throw haymakers when we're down by a goal in the third period. We want to be smart. But if you get someone on the other team who thinks they're going to push one of your teammates around, you make sure you let that person know they're going to have to push all 18 of us around, okay? Stick up for each other out there. I want a loud bench, okay? Let's have some fun on the bench. Cheer on your teammates. It's like block shots, right? I love block shots. One of your teammates puts their body in the way of a shot. Like, make sure you let them know that you appreciate it. Communicate on the ice. This is one of these things I'm going to hammer on a lot. Competitiveness, communication. I want to hear you talking, okay? You're going to hear me talking from the bench. Goalies, you can see the whole ice, right? I want my goalies yelling too, telling your teammates when they have time with the puck, telling them when you're available, tell people when you need a change and you got to get the puck down the ice, right? I want a very loud team, okay? Accountability is another part of being a great teammate. Like I said, we're all going to make mistakes. Own your mistakes, okay? Just own them. And it'll help you be able to move on, right? And I remember last year on our Breakers team, one of our wingers got the pass on a breakout on the boards. She rushed herself a little bit. Her cross ice pass to the center got picked off, and the girl from the other team went down the slot and scored. And she came to the bench. Our winger came to the bench, and I could tell she was angry. She said that was my fault. She got on the bench, and she worked her ass off the rest of the game. Like, I don't even need to say anything. When someone takes ownership of the mistake, and rather than dwelling on it, they change their mindset to go out there and earn it back. So be accountable. We're all going to make mistakes. Let's just own them. Short shifts, okay? That's another part of being a great teammate. It sort of speaks to itself, but one of the things I'll say is if you're playing hockey the right way, or at least the way I think is the right way, you can't be on the ice for more than a minute. it's just not, it's not physically possible. I want you on the ice 40 seconds, maybe 50 seconds, competing your ass off, and then get out so that the next person who's playing the right wing or center or defense can go out there and work their ass off for 40 or 50 seconds, okay? Short shifts. Another expectation, respect the hockey gods, okay? There's a lot of tradition of hockey. It's one of the things that makes it the best sport in the world. And one of those traditions is respecting the hockey gods, okay? And how do you do that? First of all, be on time and be ready, okay? Don't be trying to tie your skates when the Zamboni door is closing, right? Practices, games especially, make sure you're there early. You get your body warmed up. You get your mind checked in. You start visualizing. You get your gear on. And then 5 minutes before it's time to go on the ice, you are already ready to go. Okay? Another way you respect the hockey gods, nicknames. Girls who were on the team last year, this is a must. Okay? You all have beautiful names. Charlie, Callie, Adeline, right? Beautiful names. Chloe. Beautiful names don't belong in a hockey rink, okay? Think of some nicknames, okay? We've got a good start with some, but let's make sure that we spend some time thinking about this. And I'll tell you how important this is to me. One of my 2010 players, she joined a new team this year with my other daughter, Stella. And her last name was Lewis, and her first name was Bridget, so I called her B. And the new coach for this team this year nicknamed her Big Lou, and it was just so good. I was so upset with myself for not thinking of it. I've never been out-coached like that in my life, and I can't imagine that I'll ever be beaten that badly again. But very important nicknames. Another way to respect the hockey gods, you got to have locker room tunes, okay? You can't sit there in silence. You got to have music going. And it's not a time to, listen to your Zach Bryan, Noah Khan, getting in your feelings with Gracie Abrahams. It's not that time. It's not time for getting into your feelings. Bangers only, okay? And if you don't know what a banger is, I'll put together playlists for you. You might not want that, but, that's the rule. That's how you respect the hockey gods. Bangers only in the locker room. Respect the hockey gods. Short shifts, right? Not only your teammates hate long shifts. Not only your coach hates long shifts. The hockey gods hate long shifts, and they will put the puck in the back of your net. So those are, part of expectations. I'll talk a little bit about hockey philosophy now. Some X's and O's. But before we get into X and O's, we've got to do this training for USA Hockey. And one of the frameworks that they talk about that I like is they call them the 4 positions in hockey, right? And it's, we think of positions in, right wing, center, left D, goalie. But the way they talk about it is you're either playing offense or defense all the time, and you're on the puck or you're away from the puck. All right? So if you're offense on the puck, you're the puck carrier. And if you're defense away from the puck, you're defending your area or your checks, right? So these are the different roles. And, one of the things that kind of drives me crazy is that so much attention is spent on the puck carrier. And you watch Instagram and people are doing all their fancy stick handling. And then, you go to these tryouts and the The people who get picked have the best toe drags. The best players in the world have the puck maybe 5% of the game, right? It's an important part of the game. We want to make great plays, but one of the things you're going to realize about me is I'm going to spend a lot more time on these other areas, right? Because I think these other areas drive the plays that you make with the puck, right? And so, part of making a good pass is having someone that's ready to receive the pass and in the right spot, okay? So supporting the puck. Or, first of all, you got to play defense to get the puck to be able to make plays with it. And I'll give you just a couple examples, about what you'll hear me talking about. Maybe we've got, if we're defending this net, we've got our right defenseman coming down to pick up the puck, right here. Let's say our right defenseman's picking up the puck here. I might be, when this unit changes, I might spend more time talking to the lefty, right, about getting back, right, getting back harder, being in the middle of the ice, being behind the puck, getting your toes turned up the ice so that we can make a good D-to-D pass that is less than half the width of the ice and is backwards, and you've gotten there fast enough so that your head is up and you can see the play, right? So, because if you do that quickly, you're creating time and space for yourself when you do get the puck, and time and space is what allows you to make plays, okay? So that's just one example about how I'm going to be, coaching these other areas more than, just harping on what you do when you have the puck. Another area that I'll focus on a lot is our wingers, right? Our wingers, playing the wall in your own zone is one of the hardest things to do in hockey. I'm going to tell you to get there faster, to be ready for the puck quicker, so that you create enough time and space when you do get the puck to make a play, right? So those are some of the things that I'm going to focus on that you might not be hearing from many of your other coaches. All right, some more sort of philosophy on hockey. Let's say this is our D zone now, okay? So this is Calissa or Noel in net here. So D zone, I want to play with structure. Okay. Here, I'll tilt this a little bit. Neutral zone, I want to fill lanes. And offensive zone, you buzz like bees, fly all over the ice. Okay, no positions. For our forwards, D, I want you to activate into the offensive zone, but keep in mind, you're still defenseman, but, lots of freedom in the offensive zone. Here, I'll raise this a little bit. Fly over the ice. Okay. And we'll get into in a separate video, like exactly what sort of structure I'd like to see in the defensive zone. It's a simple one. It's probably the same one you're all playing. Center's low, wingers up high. And my philosophy on D zone is I want to make sure that we have well-defined roles in well-defined areas so that you can be the hardest working, most competitive, fastest, toughest, meanest person in that area, right? I want my right D just to focus on this area right here, right? And have just an incredible amount of pride in how hard you play in that area, how fast you are, how you win every puck battle in that area, okay? Same thing with our wingers, right? Our left winger, I want you to dominate this area of the ice right here, okay? So that's my, sort of very quick and dirty on D zone. Maybe before turning the page here, understand your coach's motivations. And this isn't the case for right now, but, for me, I work for free. But you're getting to the to the level where your coach feeds their family, pays their mortgage with the salary that they get from coaching, right? Like their livelihood depends on how well you play on the ice, right? And this is the case in college. Not as much in the ISL or prep schools, but it matters a lot to them, right? And like the quickest, there's sort of two ways to get fired really quickly, right? Have your team look totally undisciplined and lose a lot of games, right? And those two things you can accomplish by playing shitty in your own zone, right? So your coach is not looking to lose their job, and so they want to make sure that they're not shitty in your own zone. So if you're thinking about like earning ice time, you need to earn the trust of the coaches. And the way you earn the trust of the coaches is in your own zone. If you are an animal in your own zone and you play with discipline and you play within the coach's structure and you block shots and you win races and you win puck battles and you get pucks out when you need to, your coach is going to play you, because they trust you, right? And they want to be able to feed their family and pay for their mortgage, right? So if you're not getting the ice time that you think you deserve, ask yourself how you're playing in your own zone. Because even if you're scoring no goals and getting no assists, if you are really good defensively, your coach can find ice time for you, okay? And I'll just give you one anecdote. Adeline and Lucy played with a girl named Lola Reed last summer, and she played at Shattuck's. She was a freshman at BU this year, and they played in a couple of tournaments with her. And this kid could absolutely fill the net. She was, 5'11" or 6 feet tall, silky hands, bomb of a shot, and incredible finish around the net. And she went to BU in the fall, and she was probably the leading scorer through, the Christmas break. A goal or two a game as a freshman. And then I tuned in for the playoffs, and she didn't play at all. No shifts. Saw her on the bench, saw her in warm-ups. And I didn't watch enough BU hockey that I could tell you where things went wrong in terms of the point in the season. But I guarantee you, her coach lost faith in her own zone. And despite the offensive upside, just said, you know what? I'd rather play someone else. So even if you are absolutely filthy at filling the net, you need to play well in your own zone. Okay? So I hit that enough. Filling lanes, right? I'd love to see horizontal movement, on regroups. So left D here, right D here. We go D to D. Good center curl. What if we go back to D, right? This center doesn't need to turn around. They can keep coming. And then our right wing can come this way. Filling our lanes. We've got good movement, good puck support, right? We're keeping our speed up. So that's how we want to play in the neutral zone and flying all over the ice in the offensive zone. 2 forechecks. We'll either have an aggressive two people in, one high. That's what we're going to use the vast majority of the time. And so we got F1, like maybe the right wing is F1, even though the puck's in the left corner. F2 in support, F3 high. One thing that drives me crazy is a forward who thinks they're the permanent high forechecker, okay? Everyone's got to get involved in the forechecker. Watch the Carolina Hurricanes play hockey and watch those guys fly to the puck, okay? Puck goes over here into this corner, F3 is jumping, okay? One of these two are coming back to the top, okay? We're going to talk about a passive forecheck too. I won't get into that today. There's going to be times where we might need to use one of those things. You got good defensemen who control the puck. If they've got time and space on a retrieval, like we don't need to chase them behind the net. And then once we get possession, I want to see cycles. I want to see defense activating. I want to hear a lot of chatter. Let's move around and move the puck. Let's see. So things that I'll harp on to everyone, and I've already hit these a little bit, but communication is one. I want to hear everyone. Winning races and battles, right? That's the kind of winning I care about. Strong sticks, fast feet, real intensity. Strong sticks, that's another one. Active sticks, getting those sticks in passing lanes. And then net fronts. Okay? They call that the mixer, right? We need to dominate both ends of the ice in front of the net. We're going to score goals by going to the net, screening the goalie, banging home rebounds, getting pucks in off deflection, and we're going to take care of our own net and our own zone and help out our goalies by being absolute animals, clearing people out, lifting sticks. Okay, so winning battles in front of the net, very important to having success. Things that I will harp on by position. Okay, these are things that I care about, maybe more than others. For wingers, like this is our D zone again. Okay, so this is our goalie. I believe that playing the wall in your own zone for our wingers, I believe that is the hardest thing to do in hockey. Okay, and I want to make sure our wingers are committed to that. Okay, having the mindset that they're going to win the battles. First of all, you're going to get here quickly. You're going to be available for the puck. You're going to show the defenseman your stick where you want it so that they're not tempted to ring the puck. And then you're going to be checking your shoulders, and you're going to be committing to winning all these battles on the boards. Okay, like I said, it's the hardest thing to do in hockey. And so do it earlier, do it faster, right? It's what you do before you get to the puck, just like that USA Hockey framework, right? Getting there earlier, getting ready for the puck, checking your shoulders, that is going to help you win those battles. And then I want our centers supporting and talking to them to help them. I want our D making tape-to-tape passes rather than ringing when they don't have to. And I want our goalies talking as well. Okay, that's how we can help our wingers on the boards. Okay, centers. This is kind of some philosophy, I think, among some people that their centers are your most talented offensive players, and I just don't buy into that. I think you can score goals from any position, so I don't view the center as being the top offensive position. I actually view the center as the most important defensive forward. So I care more about how my centers play in their own zone than I do about how they play in the offensive zone. And I want you playing down low. I don't want you charging the net. And I want you being an animal down low. Okay? So if you want to play center, and I'm sure we have more centers than more people who want to play centers than we do have spots, so we'll probably rotate. But I want to make sure that my centers, understand that I'm expecting them to be very good defensive forwards. Okay. The other expectation, I already mentioned it. I want to hear you talking to your wingers on the breakout, and that might be, that you're open in the middle, or that they need to go off the boards and out with it. Be very vocal in helping them out. So D, what are you going to hear me talking about? I was a defenseman, so you're going to hear me a lot, as was Gord. But things that I am going to focus on a lot that your other coaches might not. Number one, get up the ice, okay? we got 6D. Hopefully we'll have all three pairs there for most games. And if you got 6D, there's no excuse for you to be coasting up the ice, right? Get up the ice. Join in the rush. Okay? And, and Gord can talk about this a little bit from BB&N, or Ace too, right? Ace was there and she was joining in on this a little bit. But I remember playing BB&N this year, and I thought the difference in the game was how active that Biati and Mara were joining the rush. And they'd make their breakout passes, and then they went, okay? They'd be the third or fourth person in. They were active calling for the puck, and it was really put a lot of pressure on our back check, okay? And they didn't always get the puck, but it always caused confusion. And that's what I want to see from our defensemen. Getting up the ice, joining the rush, looking for, honestly, like the best thing about playing defense was coming into the zone late and getting a drop pass in the slot and just being able to tee up on the goal. It's the best thing of hockey for defensemen. Like, let's do more of that. The other thing about getting up the ice and following the play is it brings me to my other key focus area, which is good gap control, right? I don't want to see big, lazy gaps when people are coming in and we're playing free safety. I don't care if you get beat wide at the blue line sometimes, but I want to see us challenging plays in the neutral zone, okay? And you close your gaps when the puck is moving this way, right? And then you maintain them when it comes the other way, right? So get up the ice and then have confidence in your backward skating to challenge attackers. Okay? Goalies. I am not going to tell you how to stop pucks. That is something for your goalie coaches. You don't want me confusing you. So the things I'm going to focus on with you is being loud and communicating. You see the whole play. The puck gets dumped in on your defenseman. Let them know if they have pressure. Let them know if they have time. Okay, so that's one thing. And then I'm going to encourage you to play the puck, right? Come out of this area a little bit. You got these soft dumps down here. Come out and charge it, knock it off the boards and out. Try to stop the rings if you can. And I can't remember if you're inside or outside of the trapezoid. I think you're inside it. But I'm sure these are things that will help your advance your game. So give them a shot. Like, what's the worst that can happen, right? And we can talk about those things as well. But be very vocal and let's play the puck a little more. Okay. What do I expect for you to do on your own? Okay, so this is things away from the team for your development. It's the off season right now. If you are getting on ice in the summer, the things that I think are most helpful for your development are skill work and unstructured play. Like 3-on-3, small ice is great for you, okay? And I know that everyone wants to do the showcases and that too. And those are important, but they're not important for development, right? They're important for exposure. But skill work, unstructured play. In the season, make sure you get a weekly skills touch in, okay? We don't have enough time in the schedules to get together, for all of us to get together for ice time. So get your own weekly touch in. Off ice things, this gets overlooked, but make sure you stretch, okay? Especially hip mobility. Bad hips are what ended my career. Adeline had 2 Tabor girls with hip problems this year. Make sure you're stretching. Strength workouts. I'm sure that you're all very familiar with the different programs that are out there. And whether you're working out at one of these special facilities or you're your school trainer has given you a program, just make sure you do it, right? Work on your speed work too, quickness and top end speed. And then, the last, one of the things maybe not the last thing, but I'm going to leave you with this. This number right here. Let you think about that a little bit. Like, what do you think 6 minutes and 44 seconds is? So a couple of weeks ago, I went down to my basement and I counted out 25 pucks, and I pressed start on the timer on my phone, and I shot those 25 pucks. I collected them again, shot them again, and I did that 4 times. So I shot 100 pucks. And then I pressed stop on my clock. It took me 6 minutes and 44 seconds to shoot 100 pucks. And I'm 50 years old. I'm not doing anything very quickly these days. That's not a lot of time, okay? Shooting pucks off the ice will greatly improve your shot, which will improve your ability to score goals and your offense in general, which improves your game, right? You can shoot 100 pucks in 6 minutes and 44 seconds. If you do that every day, let's say you do that 5 days a week over the next 12 weeks, right? That's 6,000 pucks of the summer. 6,000 pucks you can shoot, okay? And if you shoot 6,000 pucks, your shot will be better. And if you don't shoot 6,000 pucks, that's your decision. But don't tell anyone it's because you didn't have enough time, okay? Because I know that's not true. It just doesn't take that much time, right? That's not even 2 songs. Put on 2 of your Noah Kahn songs or Gracie Abrams songs and go shoot pucks. And it'll go by in no time. Shoot pucks. Goalies, you can shoot pucks too, right? I don't know if I'd shoot 100 if I were a goalie. It's a lot harder to do, but shoot 50 pucks and then go play catch with your mother or your father or your brother or sister in the backyard with your glove on, right? Just, throw 100 baseballs and catch them or something like that. Like, if you're a U19 goalie, like, you've got to be able to catch the puck, right? Like, clean every single time. And if you can't, just go out in the backyard and play catch. You don't have to go to a rink and have someone shoot pucks at you. That's the thing. Like, this stuff, it costs very little. Let's see. I also care quite a bit about mental development. And I think I wrote these things down, too. Actually, I wrote the last one down, too. I'm going to spend a lot of time on this. It's very important to me. When I think back to my own hockey playing, I shot a lot of pucks. I lifted a lot of weights. I skated a lot. I wish I understood how important this was, right? Especially, like, we're at the level now where the skill differential has compressed so much, right? Between the most skilled and the least skilled players on the ice. It's almost negligible, right? Maybe there's 5 girls, right, that we'll see in the NAGHL who are meaningfully faster or better with the better stick handlers or better shooters than everyone else. But the big difference is going to be right here. It's going to be mental development, and half of that is confidence, right? And it's the hardest thing to do is to become a confident hockey player. I'm going to try to help you along on that. I'd encourage you to, there's courses out there. There's people to follow on YouTube that can help you with mental drills. It's really important, and please take it serious. And I'm a believer that you're all good hockey players. Like, there's no way you could play at this level if you weren't. And I would imagine less than half of you think that you're a good hockey player. And so the first step in becoming a great hockey player, which we all want, you got to believe that you're already good. Okay. And so we're going to work on that a little bit. And one of the things that I think is an easy thing to do is have a journal of positive thoughts, just a little little notebook that you keep in your hockey bag. And every time you get off the ice, just write down 2 or 3 things that you did well in games or practices. Like no mistakes, just the good things that you did. Okay. And then, maybe every week or so you write a note on like, hey, like, you think I did all these great things this week, but, I wish I was shooting the puck a little harder. And so, you write a note to yourself to, shoot the 100 pucks a day. Make sure you're doing that. The other part of mental development is hockey sense. Okay. And there's a few things that I'd like to see you do. We don't watch enough hockey, and you can watch the NHL on TV. I think watching live hockey is even better, so that you're not just focused on the puck. You can focus on someone who plays your position really well and watch them when they're away from the puck as well. But watching hockey and then thinking about what is happening on the ice or what is happening at a certain position is really, really helpful. I wish I watched more live hockey when I was growing up. Watch my videos and then think about them, okay? Don't just, sort of blankly stare at your screen, even though this one's going on 45 minutes. And then visualization is very helpful. And it's not like, it's not daydreaming, like where you're thinking about like scoring the game-winning goal in the Olympics. Like you can do that too, and that that's helpful to keep you motivated. But it's thinking about the small things, right? And seeing yourself doing the small things. Like if you're a defenseman, like just see yourself doing puck retrievals where you're keeping your feet moving, your hands are calm, and you're checking your shoulder, right? Or you're a winger or you're a defenseman or you're surveying the ice before you get the puck, right? So rather than just staring at the puck and hoping your teammate passes it to you, you look to see them and then you check your right shoulder or your left shoulder to see where your options are. Like see yourself doing these things. If you're a forward, seeing yourself doing net drives and stopping in front of the net rather than doing the circles, right? Just visualize those small things, right? Those small plays that make a big difference. And then you'll see that you start to do them in the games. So that is the team meeting, and covered a lot of material. And, hopefully you spend a little bit of time thinking about it. If you have any questions, you can shoot me an email. Please make sure that you're signed up with your own account, okay, on the app. It's the app in the Breakers website. It's the same system. It's the same Sprocket system, but I want to make sure that that the players are getting all this material directly, so that my mom never passed it along to me. My dad never passed. I don't want to hear those excuses, right? Just get signed up so that we can make sure that we're all on the same page. Hope everyone has a great holiday weekend, and looking forward to seeing everyone in June.